Cooking like a pro is so easy with Pro Seasoning. This is my company. I started it from the ground up. It's called Pro Seasoning. My all-purpose spice is made with Himalayan pink salt. There are no anti-caking agents other than ground up rice. It's all natural. It's made with really high quality ingredients and it's small batch. My steak seasoning is called Pro Seasoning Steak. It's made with porcini mushroom. It has chunks of Himalayan pink salt, cracked black pepper, shallots, porcini mushroom. It is my opus to a great steak. Pro Seasoning Barbecue is made with coffee. It's got a little bit of cinnamon in it. It's got sea salt. There is nothing like it on the market. I can guarantee you that. I also have gochugaru flakes. I have really cool stuff like vinegar powder. Check out my website, chefnikki.net, and order today.
Do you want to talk about food? I want to talk about food. Halloween episode.
It's showtime. I don't know, guys. The juice is loose. Chef juice on it. Welcome back to Nikki Talks Food. I'm Nikki Pettineo. I'm your host. And today it's a spooky episode. I'm trying out test running my, and if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you can see my costume. It is Beetlejuice because we have a Beetlejuice dinner coming up at Brown's Kitchen, and I wanted to test out my costume. So she's doing okay. I bought some makeup from Walmart. I have watched so much Drag Race that I'm aware that clown white is the go-to white makeup. So the one from Walmart was just like powder. So my white makeup is not great. I know I need to have a white shirt. I just don't wear white. I don't do it. This is why I don't do 2 shows a day. I don't wear white because it's not my color. I'm a winter tone. I wear a black, gray. I wear red as an accent color. I wear some browns. Like, this guy does not belong in a white shirt. So I'm going to have to get a white button down shirt from probably Walmart. It's the cheapest. But I did take an old white chef coat and I spray painted it with the stripes, the pinstripes. So I've got my pinstripes chef coat. I got a little tie on. I got this wig from Amazon. If you look up Beetlejuice wig, it's like $45, but if you look up white wig, it's like $7. So I got a $7 wig. It's not what it should be. I did color it a little bit. It needs to be a little bit more green and I need to chop it up. It's a little bit, can I see your manager? Or actually it's more, I'm a boomer that is heavily involved in my tennis club, and I'm the president of the tennis club and the homeowners association. That's what this wig is giving right now. So I'm going to fix that. This is a test run, but I was like, oh man, what a great day. I get to just like get in drag and get on my podcast and talk to you guys about spooky stuff. This is our Halloween episode. So I have some spooky stories to tell you. It's going to be lots and lots of fun. So stick around. First, I'm going to do a little catch up sesh. I always do a little catch up when it's just me and you, and I'm talking right into your ear holes and it's just me and you. So our Beetlejuice dinner at Brown's is on a wait list, which is fantastic. Thank you to everyone who has made a reservation so far. It's going to be such a fun time. I'm so excited for that. I love dressing up. I love a theme dinner. I actually kind of I've been floating this idea with myself. Not that I need another thing to do, but you guys know I have severe ADHD and I stay busy. So one of the things that I would like to do is pick 3 movies and theme out the menu according to those movies. So for instance, I'm dying to do Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it is a cult classic. It is so weird. It is a weird movie. And I'm dying to do carnival food. So I want to do a carnival food, like a kicked up upscale carnival food to go along with Killer Clowns from Outer Space, because I think it would just be so much fun. But I want to do it like in home as like a private dinner type of thing. So I would like to do that. I would like to do Harry Potter, and I would like to do, I don't know, maybe pick another one that I would just like to theme out. And I just think it would be so fun. You book me, I come over, we put the movie on and everything is themed out for that. And then the party's over. Like, you do whatever you want. So I think it would just be a fun thing to do as, for my private dinners that I do, just to kind of, just have some fun. everybody have fun. Like how fun does that sound? Like what memories would be made from that? Like, oh dude, remember like you booked that chef, she came over, we themed out this movie, and like, you know, if it was Harry Potter, I'd do like obviously butterbeer and like all of the, oh my gosh, when they eat, it's like extravaganza, you know? So I would theme that out. I want to do like kicked up carnival food, like as a menu, just in general, just for funsies. But also, if it's not killer clowns from outer space, my friend Brian told me, you know, maybe I should try not Adventures of Babysitting. What's the other one? Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And because you have Clowny Dog, maybe I could do a themed out dinner, like carnival, like that. You know, I could still use the concept of kicked up carnival food because it's Clowny Dog. So I don't know. If you guys have seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about, man. It's such a freaking good movie. And I think they're actually coming out with another. It's about to be part due or redone or whatever it is they're doing. Beetlejuice is thirsty. Oh, don't say that word. Chef Juice. Catch-up session is over. Everything's fine. We're all good. Oh, actually no. Let's circle back. The hurricane was headed for Tallahassee. It went south of us, so you guys are probably all aware of what happened from Hurricane Helene or Helena. It's been widespread, just not good stuff. So if you're able to help, I signed up for World Central Kitchen. I haven't done it yet because I was already had professional obligations that I couldn't, you know, break with in order to go and cook. But you can sign up on World Central Kitchen. Make sure you're figuring out who you should really donate to. Like don't donate to anybody who is like could be dodgy. And then now we're looking at this Hurricane Milton coming up, and it seems pretty severe. Let me read you a quote that I read. I mean, you know, you can't really believe everything on Facebook because I try not to, but this one is from Noah Berggren, who is I guess a meteorologist. And the last sentence of this hurricane is nearing the mathematical limit of what Earth's atmosphere over this ocean water can produce. Okay, so this is a problem. We have some severe weather coming, and yeah, it's spooky. So I'm not scared of like ghosts. I'm scared of like real life, like like a hurricane coming, you know, like that kind of stuff. Like that's actual scary stuff. But I think at this point, with all the crazy stuff that we have had to deal with, here in America over the last, and I'm gonna say since 2015, the end of 2015, and I think you know why. We've dealt with some crazy stuff, but I think that stuff scares me more than if I was like, oh, a ghost is here. Like I would probably just interact with it. I'd be like, hey, what's up? What do you need? I mean, the servant's heart in me would be like, what are they looking for? Maybe I can help them. I'm sure they don't give a shit about my soul. Like, who wants to be there? You know, like they just if a ghost were to like rock up and just all of a sudden start haunting me, I would be like, how can I help? Is there something you need? I basically would be customer service for that ghost because, you know, at this point, you know, like it wouldn't shock me. Also, if aliens came, that also would not shock me. Do you guys remember? I was talking about this the other day. Art Bell. He was on late night because we can talk about spooky stuff. This is a spooky episode. Art Bell, Coast to Coast, late at night, people would call up and they'd be like skinwalkers and, you know, the people with dog heads and like all this crazy shenanigans, you know. I feel like that is lightweight at this point. So the juice is loose. So at any rate, back to the, you know, we got some weather stuff happening. Dogs are good. Everybody's good. We're all just trying to get through all this crazy weather stuff. So thankfully, we got our health, baby. And I got my yoga cup. Who knew that? Oh, here's Quinny. You want to see her? Come here, Mushy. I know you're scared of Daddy's wig. She's on a diet. She's such a meatball. This is Chef Quinny. Say hi. What do you got to say? Nothing. She's just telling me. So I'm assuming it's 2:00. These guys EAT DINNER at 3:30 because we can't get any closer. We can't get any further away than that. So She's probably telling me it's 2 o'clock. This is my hour and a half warning shot. Okay, Meatball. Oh, I love you, Mommy Toots. She's a baby. I have never had a pit bull before. We have this little rescue baby dog. She's so, well, she's not a baby by age. She's three plus. But these dogs, I'm like out of breath because I picked her up. She's 60 pounds. She's only supposed to be 45. And so she's on a little diety like daddy. I'm on a diet too. And yes, I am the daddy. Come for me. Okay, so that was our catch up sesh. Life be lifing. It's all good. We're all good. Everybody's happy. It's good. We're good. I'm glad. Blessed. Hashtag blessed. Okay, so let's talk about spooky stories. Okay, so I don't have that many spooky stories considering the fact that I've been in food and beverage so long, but I've cooked mostly in Florida and everything's kind of new in Florida. We don't have these very old buildings except for at FSU. When I worked at FSU as a chef in catering. Okay, so previously they tore this building down, which that gives you an idea of how old it was. I think it was 80 years old. And the catering department was, not many people know this, but the catering department was in the back of, like, the student union had like a food court in the very back of the food court in the bowels. That's where the catering department was. And we cooked for like thousands of people out of this little hole. And the storage for it was in the basement, and it was like 2 flights down. And the basement was dank. It was like damp. It was creepy as all hell. Like if you were, and we would be there at all hours because let's say, okay, so FSU, they got better, but then they got worse. So anyway, the game schedule, right? So if it's a noon game, if it was a noon game, we had to have the food ready and in the stadium by 5 hours before kickoff. So that would be 7 a.m., which would mean that sometimes I would be there at 2 a.m. to start prepping, maybe 2:30, sometimes 3, because we would have not only the president's suite, which is like 500 guests, but we would also, or the president's skybox. Oh, Quinny just ran into I have the doggies here because my wife's out of town and I don't want them to be alone and scared. Even though I'm wearing a scary costume and Quinny is like literally beside herself. So the president's skybox is like 500 people, right? And then we had the coaches' skyboxes and all these skyboxes, but also we had the press box. We had different tailgates, like the College of, if it was obviously these are home games. If the College of Education had a tailgate, they would have it for like 500, 300 people. This other, another department would be 200 people, so it would be like thousands. We would be making food for thousands of people with a 4-burner stove. That's a horror story. Like, that's a horror. Forget about whether a ghost, maybe I'd be like, bro, can you clock in? Like, you don't even have to clock. If a ghost was there and he was able, I'll just say if they were, I'd be like, shit, man, pass the salt. Like, I can't, like, this is crazy. So at any rate, sometimes I'd be there by myself because, labor, I was salary and we had to worry about labor. And so, we wouldn't have an hourly come on until later. And so I'd be there by myself and I'd have to go and get stuff out of this creepy basement. And it was long. It was a big building. It was and there was like cages because we shared space with other departments. And so they locked up their stuff. We locked up our stuff. And there was like chains hanging from the ceiling, obviously it's not anything malicious. It was just, over the years, this part of the building was like so dilapidated. They finally tore it down. They built a brand new, beautiful, catering kitchen. So I don't get to enjoy that. But that's my ghost story from FSU. Nothing crazy happened. It was just creepy. The ghost story is how much I was flogged like a donkey to cook there. Sometimes I'd be like, should I just sleep in my car? Because we would leave at like, I would leave at like 10 o'clock at night and have to be back there at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So, what's that, hours of rest? It's like nothing. What is that, 5 hours? It was hard. I didn't last very long. I said, forget it. I'm going to die here in the catering department. I tried 3 times to work at FSU. It didn't work out any one of those times. It was such a beating. It was always such a beating. It was always like, is my personal health, and I'm not saying like, I mean, whether or not I have like underlying health issues, fine, but like mental health issues, like it was such a beating that I never again, I can never go back in. So, but that was my ghost story. Now, one time something creepy did happen that involved an actual person. And again, I was at that time, I was an executive chef in residential dining, and it was during COVID, and I was in charge of one of the residential dining halls. All we did was make to-go food we took care of the COVID dorms, which at the time it was peak COVID. So we had like kids in the dorms, students, and could order food from us and we would drop it off. So we had like full hazmat suits. And so that was spooky. And then the way the university works is that the security we don't have a key to the door. I mean, you have a key to the back door where it's like a slide key, but to open the door for guests, the university would pop the doors open on a remote basis when it was time to open. But I guess they popped the door a little too early, or maybe it was open all night long. I don't know. But there was a person. It was just me. Again, I was a manager. This is management in restaurants. Sometimes you're just there by yourself. Just me, 5 foot me. I go into the kitchen. I think nothing of whatever. And then I realize I like ran right into this man who was obviously suffering some sort of mental health crisis. And it was just me and him, and I'm smack dab in front of him. And I was like, hey. And he was like, hey. And I'm like, hey, we're not open. You can't be here. And he was like, okay. And he like picked up his stuff and left. But he had been there all night long, and he was drawing, like, he made like a nest. Like he was like drawing pictures of stuff and helped himself to whatever was available. I think some crackers and whatever. And so that was pretty scary. I called FSU police because they have their own police department. And I was like, hey, this just happened. And I just like gave a description and that's whatever. And then I'll let everybody know, hey, this happened. And they were like, oh, we're glad you're okay. And that was it. I mean, what else you supposed to do? But that's what I find creeping. Management at night, being a manager and being like, and because we can't like put hourly people on because we're so obsessed with hourly wages. Meanwhile, these corporations are like reporting record profits and they're like nickel and diming people's safety. So that's real scariness. I don't want to get too much into like, make you guys depressed about capitalism, but it's just like these weird things happen, and like, what are we supposed to do? Like, so anyway, I'm glad I'm not really doing that anymore because it just put me into these crazy situations where I was like, how does anybody have any longevity here? Because like, these are all situations that they're not very kind to the worker. Okay, let's hear some ghost stories. And by the way, if you have any kitchen ghost stories or any ghost stories in general, you can always comment on my TikTok. You can comment on my Instagram at Chef Nikki. You can comment on Nikki Talks Food on Facebook. And you can also comment on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. So let me know your stories. Okay, this is all for Reddit. These I thought were really hilarious. Okay, this one starts out. This is from Cooper's Noodles on Reddit. Okay, and it starts out, oof, OOF, which if a story starts out, ugh, I start out sometimes with stories like, ugh, ECH is my go-to, ugh, here we go. Okay, listen to this. Okay, so oof, ugh, I think it's more of this, ugh. Worked in a coffee shop that has a Freemason building above it. Pool ball. I love that there's like not as many words. It's just like, I'm just going to say this. Pool ball found in the middle of our break room a year after opening. And then it says nobody had put it there / the building above had a pool table. Entire case of oat milk. We'll get back to that. An entire case of oat milk threw itself off the shelf in the middle of the night. We have a video, no shaking or anything. It just tossed itself off. Bathroom door would slam for no reason, no wind or open windows in the room. There's a video of me walking this poster, original poster, OP. There's a video of me walking into the break room to a ton of papers being thrown off my old manager's filing cabinet in his office. Again, no wind or any reason for that to happen. Lots of spooky stuff. Nothing threatening, but creepy for sure. Okay, so the fact that it was oat milk is so funny to me because there's a Freemason building above this coffee shop, right? The pool ball in the middle of I think this ghost is like an old timey 50 or this spirit, whoever it is, whatever it ended up being, this energy that was there. It's probably masculine. And the energy is like, get out, play pool. This oat milk business is so wimpy. It threw it across the room. No more oat milk, which I think is hilarious. Like for the ghost to be, it didn't throw them whole milk. My grandfather would only buy whole milk because he said that skim milk had water in it. So I think this ghost is hilarious. They obviously, they're throwing papers around. They obviously are just, they're just a jokester. They're just goofing around. And they're just like, you guys are doofuses for drinking oat milk. Okay, our next one. Our next one is from STEJ_GEP. Okay, this is on Reddit. My restaurant is an old gas station that was built in the 40s. We actually have a couple of ghosts. I've been in the building for 20 years. About 15 years ago, my daughter's best friend was one of our servers. She had that whole I see dead people vibe. And one day said to my daughters, does your dad know there's a little kid watching him cook? Ooh, creepy. The way the kitchen is set up, at the end of the line, there is a dry storage closet and apparently this little wraith. Oh, God. Okay, maybe you shouldn't call it a wraith. I don't know. This little wraith would just casually sit on fryer oil boxes and watch the action on the line. I would too. Over time, a few things became apparent. He didn't like other kids, and other kids could see him. Every kid, this is in bold, like not bold, but capital, caps, all caps. Every kid that sat in our dining room would scream bloody murder. Oh my God, that's a sure indication. Secondly, he was afraid of the dark. There was a light bulb in the dry storage area that never went out, burned for 20 years straight, never found a switch, never found a breaker that would turn it off. Ooh, spooky. This one's from Chef Monster, so you know it's going to be good. I've been meaning to ask this same question on this sub. I have worked at several haunted restaurants, including the one I'm at now. Lots of flying stuff off shelves, lids being moved around and hidden where nobody would put them. Okay, that's just general restaurant behavior. Like the amount of stuff I had to look for all the time. He/it usually seen early in the mornings when you're alone. I like how this is. I like how there's like very little words. He/it usually seen early in the mornings when you're alone. He's pretty innocuous and just likes to be acknowledged. Hey, ghost. I've stopped telling new hires that the space is haunted because they usually figure it out for themselves eventually. Over 6 years here, same core staff, but a few positions get turnover. The best example that defies explanation is this one. I had a stack of 3 12-quart Cambros in the walk-in. We have a tiny walk-in. The top one was 12 quarts of barbecue that I had just transferred. I set it on top, left the walk-in, and shut the door. Less than 5 minutes later, I go back in. The barbecue Cambro is on the floor, upside down, lid still on, no sauce spilled. I am the only person there. Okay, well, listen. That to me sounds like buffoonery, typical buffoonery in the kitchen, as far as like you put the 3 quarts of barbecue sauce on the top of 2 other 3-quart Cambros. And so now it's top heavy. Yeah, it's going to fall. That's just Murphy's Law in the kitchen. This isn't spooky, but I do have a video coming out very soon on how to make pretzels, on how to make chewy pretzels. And I also have a beer cheese recipe to go along with it. So look for that coming soon. Also, next week, I'm going to have a guest on. Her name is Sarah. She has a TikTok called My Butch Kitchen, and she's got quite a lot of followers. So next week our topic is going to be how to grow your social media. So if that's something you're interested in, we're going to have a little chit chat with Sarah. She seems pretty cool. So look for that. That's next week. I'm in the process of rewatching American Horror Stories Coven, which is, in my opinion, the best. I did also like Delicate, which had Kim Kardashian. But Coven is so good. Okay, here are the Cliff's Notes of Jessica Lange. Okay, Patti LuPone, Angela Bassett, Sarah Paulson, Kathy Bates. I mean, like the cast, and that's like the top. But like they're Queenie. I don't know the actress that plays her. Every person in that show is top notch, and it is so good. So I'm rewatching that because that is it's kind of scary, but not too scary. So I like it scary, but not super scary. It's real witchy. I like it witchy. Since this is a Halloween episode, let's talk about like cooking with pumpkins. Okay, so the pumpkin that you see in the store for decoration, like to cut and carve, the big ones, those are not for cooking. Those are bred specifically to be hardy so that they last on your porch. Once your 5-year-old carves a jagged little crooked smile into it, it'll last on your porch for days on end before it rots away. The cooking pumpkins are called sugar pumpkins or pie pumpkins, and do not be afraid of those. They're so easy to use and they're so delicious. My hack for cooking those, and you can find them usually at your grocery store, right where they sell the winter squash. So near the spaghetti squash, butternut squash, you will find pie pumpkin or sugar pumpkin. And they're small. They're the size of like, what are they the size of? They're probably 10 inches around, 10 to 12 inches round, right? So all you do is you cut the top off, cut the stem off, and you can get usually the produce department to cut it in half for you if you don't want to mess around with a round, hard squash. Ask the produce department. Go to the person in the produce department and say, "Hey, can you cut this in half for me?" And they'll do it. They'll do it. Usually if it's a good store, they will do it for you. Cut your pumpkin stem off. Then you can cut it in half, take out the seeds with a spoon. You can save the seeds and roast them if you want. And then all you do is cut them into like half moon shapes. You don't need to peel it. Then what I do is just throw them in some good olive oil, pro seasoning, all purpose, of course. And then if I'm making it sweet, I'll throw some pro seasoning holiday baking spice on there. If I'm making it savory, I might chop up some herbs like some sage. Pumpkin and sage go really well together. So savory, olive oil, pro seasoning all purpose, maybe some ribbons of sage, toss it all together, blast it in your oven at 400 degrees for about, 30 minutes. But once it'll be squishy. I like it a little bit crispy on the ends, like a little bit burnt on the ends. Then you can take a paring knife and just peel the skin away, and you will have the most delicious pumpkin. It is a sugary squash. You can make pie from it. You can make desserts from it. I'm going to upload a really good sous vide pumpkin creme brulee recipe very, very soon. So you can use it for your baking purposes. You can just chop it up into cubes and add it to your pasta with some pine nuts and some sage and some chicken. And there's a beautiful, just super easy fall flavors. And that pumpkin is really good because it's got all that beta carotene. Orange vegetables are very, very good for you. They're high in carotenoids, which are cancer fighting. So try it out. Don't just walk by. And always, if you're like scared to cook a vegetable, first of all, you can email me at nikkitalksfood@gmail.com. You can also comment on one of my videos or just ask the person in the produce section, what do I do with this? And can you help me cut it in half? Or can you help me figure out how to cut this? And they'll help you. Don't be scared of foods, try stuff. And when those sugar pumpkins come out, I cook them. I have a beautiful pumpkin parmesan witch's satchel made from fresh pasta on my website, chefnikki.net. So check that out. There's some great recipes out there. So don't be afraid of cooking fresh pumpkin, but don't ever try to cook the stuff that you put on your porch. You got to use sugar pumpkin or what's called pie pumpkin. And that is our star ingredient of the week. Enjoy. Thanks for listening, guys. If you like my show, don't forget to subscribe and also leave me a comment. Leave me a 5-star review. I'm on Apple, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Spotify. I also put clips up on my TikTok, and that is Nikki Talks Food on my TikTok. You can also find me at Chef Nikki on Instagram. I love you guys. Let me know what you want to talk about. We're going to have a guest next week, but I'm always here for suggestions. Thanks, guys.